Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 1024th battle that I've put onto our YouTube channel. And today you'll see we're going to have a look at a battle from Rome Total War, Barbarian Invasion. Okay, and Barbarian Invasion is a very underestimated game that came out a year after Rome Total War, and it's always stood in the shadow of its big brother, Rome Total War. But it is actually a really good game, and we play it every Sunday night now. We're going to go and have a look at the custom. If you notice there, can you see there's not a lot of maps, multiplayer battle maps on Barbarian Invasion. You can see we got the old Germanic forest map and the Nordic woodland map that we play on Rome Total War. But as you can see, it's quite a restricted number of maps there. Okay, so if we have a look at the factions here, you'll see there's some interesting factions. You've got the Saxons there, the Frankish. There you've got the Vandals, you've got the Huns, you've got the Sarmatians there, the Celts, the Sassanids there, you've got the Romano-British, the Slavs there. So as I say, you've got all the factions there, but these are the Roman factions there. Okay, you've got the Eastern Roman Empire, you've got the Western Roman Empire, you've got the Eastern Roman rebels, and you've got the Western Roman rebels. Those are the four Rome factions there. So what we're going to do, we're going to have a look at the two factions that are going to be involved in the battle that you're going to watch today. Okay, so you can have a look at the unit cards selection if you like. Okay, so there you are. There's the units there of the Roman Western Empire. This is what our team are going to be, the Western Roman Empire. You've got the comitatenses. Remember, most battles we play for 30k each. We find that a balanced amount of money, but for this particular battle, it's Rome versus Rome. There's 70,000 each. Now you've got the Plumbarti there that throw Plumbarti darts. They're effective against armored darts, and they've got something like 15 to 20 that they can throw of those effective against armored darts, and they can be devastating. You've also got the Auxilia Palatina. Now these guys form a shield wall, and they are really good anti-cavalry units. I've seen these guys get smashed by really heavy Equitai Clibinari cavalry, and they still hold. They're really good defense troops. They're not so good at attack. I've tried to use them for attack. They're not very good at that, but they are really good at holding cavalry. And then you've got the comitatenses. Now these are the real infantry that we bring to in our Roman armies there. They're 122 man units. Okay, they're all eagle units, so they give each other morale boosts there. Okay, so the Plumbarti, the Auxilia Palatina, and the comitatenses, those are the three main units that we bring in our armies. You've got archers there. The archers here are only mid-range archers, but you've also got the bucellarii, which are the crossbowmen. Okay, now they're effective against armor, but they're slow loads, so they got slow rate of fire, and you've got to get close range with them as well. But they are effective against armor. But here are the cavalry units. You've got the Sarmatian Auxilia units there. If you notice, the attack's 10 and the defense is 22. Okay, then you've got the Scola Palatini there, and you'll see their attack is only 8. See the difference there if you look between the two there. But strangely enough, the Sarmatian Auxilia have got better specifications, but they're cheaper than the Scola Palatina there, so which might be strange. Which I always think is a little bit strange to me. But then you've got these guys, the Imperial German Bodyguard. Now there's only, I think if I remember right, there's only like 24 in a unit. But towards the end of a battle, if there are any cavalry left on the battlefield, it's usually these guys, Imperial German Bodyguards. It's surprising how tough these guys are. As I say, there's only 24. And I'm just going to let you have a look at some of the armies there that we fought on Sunday night. So there's the first army there. I'm not sure if that's Scorpion King's army there. I think possibly. There, can you see the infantry there? And then you got Fesen's army there. Let's have a look at Fesen's. I remember this is for 70k. Okay, There you can see the army that he's bought there. The Scola Palatina Cavalry, he's gone for them. And then you've got Romex, GOTW Romex. And if you notice there, he's bought a lot of Plumbarteri for the missile damage that they can do. And he's got the Imperial German Bodyguard as his cavalry there. Okay, so I just thought you might find that interesting, having a look at other players' armies there. Okay, and then we're going to go on to there, and you can see that the Roman Western Empire Rebels is the same unit card as what we've just looked at before. But have a look at these guys. So that's Johng's army there, look. Okay, so you can see he's got the Palatina, the Auxilia Palatina, the anti-cavalry guys there, and he's got the Imperial German bodyguards there, and he's got the Comitatenses. If we have a look at Royer's army, you'll see that he's got 14 Comitatenses, and he's gone for the Scola Palatina cavalry. And Vet Plague, he's done exactly the same. I think him and Mantu and Royer, they all took the same armies. There you are, and have a look at Mantu's army as well. Doesn't change that. So they all went for the same type of army there. Okay, so I just thought you might find that interesting. Have a look at some of the players there. As I say, for most of the battles on Barbarian Invasion, we play 30k. But when it's Rome v Rome, I tend to host at 70k for that. Now for 70k, what you'll find is that Roman troops on Barbarian Invasion are dearer than they are on Rome Total War. So 70k sounds a lot, but you still can't fully upgrade all your troops. You still have to select where you fully upgrade and where you don't. It's got the potential to be a cracking battle, and I hope you really enjoy it. Okay, so this battle was fought on the Germanic Forest map here. You know, one of our favourite maps that you see us fight on Rome Total War. Quite flat there. And you can see here that we are the red. You'll be able to see that during the battle that we are the red Roman armies, and the enemy are the green Roman armies. So at a glance, you'll be able to see what's actually happening and who is who. Okay, our first teammate is Johng. A lot of you will know Johng. Now he's got 14 infantry and 6 cavalry. Okay, 14 infantry and 6 cavalry. Just want to show you what unit he bought here. Can you see that he has bought the Auxilia Palatina anti-cavalry spearmen that can form a shield wall there? And they are really tough infantry, really good defense infantry. They can hold against enemy attacks, both infantry and cavalry, but I've found that they're not very good at attacking. So if you bring them, just keep them kind of as defense units. And then the rest of his army are the Comitatenses, the big 122-man Comitatenses there. Okay, remember that all the Comitatenses are eagle units, so they're all giving each other a morale bonus. Okay, that's something to remember during the course of the battle. And also Johng has gone for the Imperial German bodyguard, the Imperial German bodyguard units. Okay, they're only 24-man units, but they are extremely tough. And as I say, towards the end of a battle, if there are any cavalry left, it's usually those guys running around the battlefield that are left. Okay, our next teammate is someone who's called himself Oppressed, but is in fact Scorpion King SR. Now get ready for this, because I know a lot of you like statistics. He's got 19 infantry units, okay? Now remember, these Comitatenses units are 122 man per unit. So that means that he's got 2,318 infantry. Okay, and each one of those infantry can throw 3 armor-piercing pilers. Now get ready for this. This means that Scorpion King's army can throw 6,954 armor-piercing pilers before they even get into battle. I'll say that again, 6,954 armor-piercing pilers Scorpion King's infantry can throw before they even get into hand-to-hand fighting. So as I say, 19 Comitatenses, 2,318 infantry in his army alone, and they can throw 6,954 armor-piercing pilers before they, even get into hand-to-hand fighting. So the firepower alone from Scorpion King's army could cause massive damage to the enemy troops there. And as I say, they're all eagle units. Remember, the Comitatenses units are all eagle units, so they all give each other morale boosts. Okay, our next teammate is Brotherhood member Fesen. Now he's got 14 Comitatensis Eagle units and 6 cavalry. Just like to show you the cavalry that he's chosen to go for, and he has gone for the Schola Palatini cavalry there. Okay, he's gone for 6 of those. Okay, so that is Fesen's 70k army. Remember, we're playing for 70k each. And our last teammate is myself, Spartan Commander. I've got 14 Comitatensis and 6 cavalry, but my cavalry is mixed. Okay, I'm just experimenting at the moment, but I've mixed my cavalry for this particular battle, as you will see. So you'll see here that I've got 3 Sarmatian Auxiliary cavalry. Okay, so I've got 3 of those there, but also you'll see that I've got 3 of the Imperial German bodyguard units as well. Okay, so what I'm trying to do there is just mix the cavalry up just to see if they complement each other during the course of the battle. So you've got the Sarmatians for the big charge bonus, and we've got the Imperial German bodyguard for the actual melee fighting. And here is the other team. We have Brotherhood member Royer. He's called himself Royer Lothrock, I think, but it is actually Brotherhood member Royer. He's got 6 cavalry, 1 priest unit, and 13 infantry. Okay, so you can see there that he's gone for the Imperial German bodyguard. He's got 6 of those cavalry. But here's something I'd like to explain to you here. Can you see that he's bought a priest unit? Now, just to say that in Rome Total War, morale is very important, as we know, but in Barbarian Invasion, morale is even more important. When we first started to play Barbarian Invasion, we were getting mass routs right at the beginning of the battle and things like that, because we didn't understand how important morale was on Barbarian Invasion. So to bring a morale boosting unit like this priest unit is a really good tactical move to keep the morale up of the troops there. Okay, so when you play Barbarian Invasion and you bring other factions or Roman factions, try and bring morale boosting units if you can. Okay, their next teammate is Brotherhood member Mantu. Now he's got 14 infantry and 6 cavalry. Let's see what cavalry he's gone for. And he has gone for the Schola Palatina cavalry there. Okay, so that's his 70k army. Their next teammate is Brotherhood member Spitfyr. Now Spitfyr's got 14 infantry and 6 cavalry, but he's also got, if you notice here, we'll have a closer look, he has got the Auxilia Palatina anti-cavalry spearmen. That I talked to you before about this. They form a spear wall. They're really good defensive troops in that spear wall, in that kind of shield wall like there. They can hold up both cavalry and infantry, so that's pretty good. You can see he's got them in the shield wall there, and he's also got mixed cavalry, the same as myself. He's got Imperial German bodyguard units and Sarmatian cavalry, Sarmatian Auxiliary cavalry as well, so he's done the same as me there. And let's have a look, see if we can see their last teammate. Oh, there he is. And that is Brotherhood member Vet Plague. Now, just to let you know that Vet Plague has just come back from about a 10-year break from Rome Total War. And he can only play Sunday nights due to his job. And, of course, Sunday nights we play Barbarian Invasion now. And he's really enjoying Barbarian Invasion. Now, he's got 14 infantry and 6 cavalry. So, just like to say, nice to see Vet Plague back on Barbarian Invasion. And nice to see him back on the scene, as I say, after about, I think it's about a 10-year break. Another thing I'd like to show you here, you'll see that the enemy team, the Western Empire rebels, are all green. Okay, so all the enemy team are green. Okay, and all our team are the red Western Empire troops. Okay, so we're red, they're green. So when you watch the battle, you'll be able to see exactly what's going on just by the color of the units there. Okay, at this stage of the battle, I thought you might like to have a look at our Barbarian Invasion Roman battle formation there. There's Scorpion King's 19 infantry, and you can see he's got 3 units in open order in front of his main battle formation. Remember, units in open order suffer less damage from missiles. You'll see Fesen's also got his battle formation there, and there's my battle formation there with my open order units in front of my main battle formation there, with my cavalry at the back. There you are, you can see my mixed cavalry there, the Imperial German bodyguard units and the Sarmatian Auxiliary cavalry as well. So I just thought you might find that interesting, seeing our battle formations there. And we're all going to form up, if I remember correctly, we're all going to form up in this area here. We're all going to try and get there and form up there. As I say, it's got the potential to be an absolutely cracking battle. Okay, at this still very early stage of the battle here, you'll see that Johng is going to hold our right flank facing Royer. Okay, so that's what Zhong's going to be doing on our right flank. And here you'll see that Scorpion King's 19 infantry are kind of facing two armies, Mantus and Vet Plagues there. Okay, that's what he's doing at the moment, but that is why, and you see over on our left flank here, you'll see that my army is facing Spitfyer's army. Okay, but because Scorpion King looks like he's facing two armies, Fesen is taking his army across there to the other side of Scorpion King's army there. Okay, and just to remind everybody that the vast majority of units in this whole battle are the 122 man units, so it's a little bit of lag you'll notice to start off with in the game, but gradually as more units are kind of killed, you'll find the game will speed up a bit. There you'll see Scorpion King being very aggressive with his Imperial German bodyguard cavalry general there. And you'll see that I am now moving my army over to move into the space that Fesen has vacated as he moves over to the right of Scorpion King there. So I think Fesen wants to face Mantu and leave Scorpion King there facing Vet Plague. I think that's what Fesen is thinking there. And as I say, you can see that he's now moved his army over to face Mantu there. Okay, so Fesen decided to do that. So also he'll be able to help on the right flank if needed. Right, let's just pause the game for a second here. So, as I say there, he's moved over from the left centre here over to the right centre, if you like. And he's teamed up with Scorpion King. So Scorpion King's facing Vet Plague and Fesen is facing Mantu. As you can see, Johng is facing a Royer there on our right flank. Should be a great battle for you to watch. Okay, there's still a very early stage of the battle here. You'll see that Scorpion King once again, as we've seen in so many battles before, has laid his attacking credentials down on the table there. And you can see him attacking right from the beginning. Meanwhile, here you'll see Fesen moving forward, but he needs to be aware of his right flank there. Can you see that Royer there has got his army locked and loaded there, possibly with a view to charge into Fesen's right flank? And you'll see that Johng is pulling back some of his units there from the right flank. So as I say, Fesen's moved over there, but as I say, he needs to keep an eye on that right flank of his. As I say, Scorpion King here attacking. Now here you'll see Johng has brought over that those Auxilia Palatina from his right flank here to the centre here to help Scorpion King against any potential cavalry charge. And don't forget, they're really good at stopping infantry as well. But as I say, attacking wise, they're not very good. But if you just use them for defence, they are a really good unit to have there, especially in the shield wall formation. Here, as I say, you can see like a bit of skirmishing going on between Vet Plagues and Scorpion King's armies there. As I say, a Vet Plague can be a very aggressive player as well, so with Scorpion King opposite him, as I say, it wouldn't surprise me if the main battle kind of kicked off there. As you can see, it's starting to develop. Here's Mantu moving his army forward as well towards Fesen's. But as I say, just look at Fesen's right flank. It does look a little bit exposed to an attack by Royer. I don't know what you're thinking there. Here, look, can you see there his flank there? And that what worries me is that cavalry of Mantu's is locked and loaded. I wonder if he's thinking about smashing into the flank of Fesen's infantry there. But remember, at this money, cavalry is less effective because the infantry are so well upgraded there. But as I say, you've got Mantu's and Royer's cavalry there, and they may well look to attack Zhong's army here on our right flank. We need to watch that. As I say, over here on the left flank, you will see that my army is facing Spitfyer's army. But in the centre here, as I say, Scorpion King and Vet Plague are having quite an intense scrap there, as you can see. And as I say, Fesen there is facing right. Can you see that Mantu's army is closing in on the forward units of Fesen? Now there's a tactical move going on here, and Fesen is moving back, which is a really good tactical response to what Mantu and Royer was doing there. Okay, so just let me explain what's happened here. Mantu was moved forward there to try and hold and pin Fesen's infantry units, okay, while Royer came in on his flank. Okay, that was what you could see what Royer and Mantu were trying to do. Fesen saw that and backed his infantry off. So a nice tactical move there by Mantu and Royer, but a really nice tactical response there by Fesen, moving his infantry out from that potential vice trap there from Mantu and Royer. Right, as I say, here you can see several of Scorpion King's infantry have routed. Okay, and remember, in this battle there's loads going on all over the place at the same time, so it's kind of difficult getting all the filming in here, but believe me, there's lots going on all over the place. Little attacks coming in, tactical attacks, tactical ground movement as well. Right, pause the game for a second here. Here you can see that Johng's Auxiliary Palatina spearmen there he's loaned them there to Scorpion King to help the defense against the enemy troops charging in. But here you can see some of Scorpion King's units have already been routed there by the pressure that Vet Plague's been putting on him. As you can see here, a Spitfyr has moved his infantry forward to engage the forward units of my battle formation there. So make no mistake, there will be a lot of pilot exchanging going on there between our two armies. Okay. Remember, Spitfyr is a very tactical player, but also can be very aggressive as well. If you notice, I'm realigning my battle formation there. Okay, getting a little bit closer to my allies there. As I can see, Scorpion King's under a lot of pressure, so I want to try and get a little bit closer to him there to help out if necessary, even though he has got 19 infantry units. But look at Vet Plague really putting a lot of pressure onto Scorpion King there at the front of his units there. I mean, just look at that for a scrap going on there. I mean, that is quite intense, isn't it? Plus there'll be pilots being thrown in there as well. Okay, so over here you'll see Royer there attacking Johng's infantry. There, Johng's holding quite well there. But we know Royer can be a very, very aggressive attacking player as well. So he's just I think he's just biding his time there, ready to attack when he feels fit there. Okay, I can see the enemy cavalry locked and loaded in wedge formation, which tells me it's ready to attack. Here, as I say, the anti-cavalry Auxiliary Palatina infantry of Johng's there. I thought it was a nice bit of support there, helping Scorpion King there in the centre against that massive attack coming in. So well done to Johng. And as I say, here over on our left flank, you'll see it's my army facing Spitfyre's army there, and Spitfyr being quite aggressive. But as I say, the green cavalry here is in wedge formation, which tells me that it's locked and loaded and ready to attack when Vet Plague feels it's the best time to do that. Now over here I want to show you on our left flank, you will see that Fesen is moving his cavalry out to the flank of Spitfyre's infantry. Now you'll notice that Spitfyr has pulled back some of his infantry there on seeing the threat from Fesen's cavalry. Okay, so just to give you a heads up on that, nice move there by Fesen. But meanwhile, over on our right flank, I feel that maybe our right flank and right centre could be pivotal to the outcome of this battle. We just have to wait and see. Okay, but you can see here that Johng is attacking the army of Royers there. Okay, so there you can see that Johng is bringing his units over, possibly to get onto the flank of Royer there to attack his troops. But as I say, Fesen here, you can see some of Zhong's infantry starting to rout there as well, under a lot of pressure there. But over here, look, you can see, oh my gosh, several of Scorpion King's infantry are now routing. I'm not sure if they've just received a cavalry charge in there, which might have caused that. And as I say, Fesen over here is on the left flank. Now, what I was thinking here was an old school, old-fashioned surge attack into Spitfyre's infantry. Okay, that's what I was thinking there. And then Fesen comes in from the flank, smashes into the flank, and I then ram home my attack with my cavalry, going through my infantry into Spitfyre's infantry there. So what I was thinking there, 2 cavalry hits and my infantry doing an old school, old-fashioned surge attack into Spitfyre's infantry. But the problem was with that, if I remember correctly, was our right flank is under a heck of a lot of pressure here. Okay, you've got Mantu's cavalry locked and loaded over there, and Johng is aggressively attacking Royer's infantry. Okay, remember that our team are all red. Okay, we're the red Roman team, and the enemy are the green enemy team. There's a cavalry going in there, like, and bang, as it smashes into one of Scorpion King's infantry units there. But as I say, there's lots going on all over the battlefield there. But can you see a lot of our red Roman units are starting to crack and are starting to rout? Okay, so over here, as I say, Johng being very, very aggressive here towards Royer's army. Okay. Oh, and I wanted to show you something here that I've never noticed before when I played Barbarian Invasion. Can you see that the green Imperial German bodyguard of the Western Empire rebels, their sword blades are black? Do you see that? So their sword blades are black. So the Western, as I say, the Western Roman rebels there, their blades are black, okay? Where our Imperial German bodyguard, a Western Empire, they're silver. I've never noticed that before. So the green German Imperial bodyguards have got black blades, and our Imperial German bodyguards have got silver blades there, and I've never noticed that before until I watched this battle replay. I wonder how many more Barbarian Invasion players have noticed that before. Never noticed that. So I just thought that was quite interesting there. But here you can see, I think it's Mantu's cavalry charging into Johng. Zhong's going to need help. So that idea that we were thinking about, that charge into Spitfyre's army, has now been shelved because we need to move our cavalry over to help Johng on the right flank. So there you can see me moving my cavalry over, and you can actually see Fesen moving his cavalry over from that left flank. So we're both moving our cavalry over to the right now to help Johng. As I say, the right flank and right centre could prove to be pivotal in this battle. But as I say, there's a big scrap going on here, and Mantu's got his cavalry involved as well. So you can see my cavalry coming in there now. My mixture of Salmation Auxiliary and Imperial German bodyguard units there, going to charge in and bang as they smash in there. Oh my gosh. But as I say, looking at the right flank here, as I just said a few minutes ago, this could prove maybe decisive what happens here. You can see Fesen bringing his cavalry over as well. I'm going to back my cavalry off. You can see Johng charging his cavalry in again. Look, and bang, as they smash in there. Nice charge there by Johng. And as I say, you got Fesen's cavalry over here as well, ready to charge in. You can see Scorpion King charging his cavalry unit in as well. Oh my gosh, here, and you can see my cavalry locked and loaded, and I'm just about to charge them in as well. You can see Mantu charging his cavalry as well. See my cavalry gonna hit, bang, as they smash in there. You can see Fesen's cavalry charging in there as well. He just took them back, locked and loaded, then pulled the trigger, and he's charging there as well. Look, bang, as he charged in there. And I think Zhong's cavalry's in there as well. But just like to show you, these Imperial German bodyguard units are incredibly tough. Can you see you've got Royer's Imperial German bodyguards there? They're being hit from 2 directions there. All this cavalry coming in from that side and all that cavalry coming in from that side, and they're still holding. That's why I said towards the end of the battle, if there are any cavalry left on the battlefield, it's usually the Imperial German bodyguard units that are left. Right, you can see Mantu charging his cavalry in to come and help Royer there, like, and bang, as they smash in there as well. Oh my gosh. You can see a heck of a lot of cavalry going in there. And here you can see Zhong's cavalry there. He took them in behind the enemy troops, and he's charging his cavalry in there as well. And bang, as they smash in there. Fesen has took his cavalry back, locked and loaded, charged them back in, and bang, as he smashes back in there. And here, a nice little move by Spitfyr. You'll see he's brought his cavalry all the way round the left flank there, all the way round our left flank to get his cavalry in behind us as well. So, as I say, this could be a make or break of the battle here. You can see both sides putting a lot of resources into that there. And you can see Vet Plague bringing his cavalry over as well. But can you see how the enemy green infantry has kind of made ground into our battle formations there? Okay, now meanwhile over here on our left flank, you'll see I'm holding the left flank there, and you can see that I'm being attacked at the front, but you can see Spitfyr looking to bring units around the flank there, and you can see Scorpion King has got a couple of his units there, or a unit there, that he's brought over to try and help me against Spitfyr there. But as I say, there's a lot going on from one flank to the other, all the way through the battle lines there. Okay, but over here on the right flank, as I say, there's enemy cavalry coming in, Spitfyr's cavalry charging there. You've got Mantu's cavalry in there. You've got Fesen's cavalry, my cavalry, Johng's cavalry in there as well. And lots of infantry scrapping going on there as well. You can see between the green and red infantry there. You can see that happening there. But, oh my gosh, there is so much going on. You can see my cavalry there. I'm still charging into the enemy green troops. And you can see Fesen's cavalry there. I think Vet Plague's cavalry's just got over there as well. So kind of we're outnumbered cavalry-wise now. Pause the game for a second. And also, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Here you can see Johng's infantry is beginning to crack and rout. Okay, as I say, the outcome of the battle could well be decided on this right flank. Look at the amount of enemy green troops there that are fighting. Poor old Fesen here, look. He's sent some of his troops out to try and help Johng, as well as trying to hold his position where he is. You can see green infantry there, look, have made inroads into Fesen's battle formation. There's more infantry ready to charge in there as well, look. Oh my gosh. And over here, as I say, on the left flank, I'm holding. Now, what I'm trying to do, just to give you a heads up on that, I'm trying to keep a lot of my units back from the fighting. Okay, what I want to do is try and keep fresh units. Right, can you see I've got this unit? I've turned to the left here to face a threat coming in on my left flank. But what I'm trying to do here, remember we talked about morale being so important on Barbarian Invasion. What I'm trying to do is keep several of my infantry fresh. Maybe for, you know, towards the end of the battle, that could help our team a lot. Okay, you'll see those Auxilia Palatina shield wall there. You can see those that line of shield wall troops that Spitfyr's got. You may well move them in towards my forward units there in my battle formation. But as I say, over on the right flank, and in the centre here, there's lots going on. But over on the right flank here, you can see, unfortunately, a lot of our red units, red Roman units, starting to crack and rout. Okay, and as I say, this right flank could prove pivotal to the outcome of the battle. If you notice here, I'm moving my cavalry away from the green infantry and cavalry that are coming after me. And over here, oh my gosh, Fesen's cavalry could all be lost here. Look at the numbers that he's up against. Right, okay, so all of Fesen's cavalry, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, all of Johng's cavalry have just been routed. Now, I'm hoping that some units will rally. Okay, I'm hoping that some of the, especially his general unit. But you can see now that we've lost, for all intents and purposes, we've kind of lost the right flank, because they're going to look to roll Fesen up there from right to left. So our right flank it has been taken, has been broken, and our right centre could well be rolled up here by victorious enemy troops. Okay, so as I said, the right flank, right centre could prove decisive and pivotal to the outcome of the battle. Okay, meanwhile over on our left flank here, I'm holding well against Spitfyr's aggressive attack, and I'm bringing my cavalry over nearer to my infantry there, so I can bring reinforcements in the way of my infantry over to help my cavalry. Here you can see poor old Scorpion King's under a lot of pressure there. You can see Fesen has moved more units over there. So Fesen now is fighting, not just fighting Mantu, he's fighting all of Royer's army as well now. So, because I think most of Johng's units have been routed, I think, at this stage of the battle. Right, let's just pause the game for a second here. So, if I'm not mistaken, I think that Johng, at this stage of the battle, has just got 3 units left. 3 cavalry units left, and I think all of Johng's infantry has basically been taken out, and that's all that he's got left. And the victorious troops of Brotherhhod and Mantu are trying to roll up poor old Fesen here. Can Fesen hold here? As I say, he's fighting Mantu's army, he's fighting Royer's army, and I think there's elements of Vet Plague attacking him as well. So poor old Fesen there, he's got a lot to do to try and hold that position there. Meanwhile over here, as I say, on our left flank, I'm holding well. And as I say, my tactical thinking here is to try and keep some of my infantry fresh, because morale is so important on Barbarian Invasion. If enemy troops are tired or very tired, my fresh infantry could make a difference. Over here you'll see my cavalry there fighting both infantry and enemy cavalry. Need to send reinforcements over there. That's why I brought my cavalry close to my infantry. Look, I can now bring reinforcements over to help my cavalry, and you'll see that that's what I'm doing, bringing infantry units over, and the enemy will probably back off now when they see 2 of my cavalry infantry units arriving there. And that's exactly what Spitfyr is doing, is backing off a little bit. He's got that infantry unit there. You'll see Scorpion King's brought one of his units over as well to try and help on this left flank. But I just can't tell you how good Fesen is doing at the moment. I mean, he's really holding against massive odds there. If you notice, he's keeping his general out of the fray, so his general's radiating a morale bonus to his troops there. But you can see a lot of enemy troops closing in on him. As I say, just keeping his general there fresh and full unit there, radiating morale out to his troops there. A nice position he's got that in as well. Oh, nice to see some green enemy infantry starting to rout. That's good news for us. There's a couple of Mantu's units routing there, so that's really good. And Scorpion King's doing well. Don't forget, Scorpion King's been holding for a long, long time. And you can see Vet Plague's cavalry locked and loaded in wedge formation, ready to go in and hit Scorpion King when he's ready. But as I say, a lot going on all over the battlefield here. And here you can see that the enemy have created a salient there in Scorpion King's infantry. Here I've got infantry along with Scorpion King, a couple of units there trying to attack Spitfyre's green units there. Okay, you can see them coming around the flank. I'm going to try and get some of my... I haven't got a lot of cavalry left, to be honest, but I'm going to try and get them in behind the engaged enemy troops. There, you can see me pushing my infantry forward into that enemy unit there. You got one of Scorpion King's units there as well. But as I say, things there are not looking that good. You can see Johng. I think that's Zhong's infantry, cavalry there, charging into the back of Spitfyre's infantry. You can see I've started to attack more of Spitfyre's infantry units that are coming around my flank there, peeling off infantry units from my battle formation there. Right, pause the game for a second. Okay, so these units here, you can see they're all fresh. Those 5 units are all fresh, but I'm going to need to deploy them, I think, there to help Scorpion King. As I say, the enemy troops there have created a salient. Scorpion King's still holding well here. He's been fighting for a long time, but look, his troops are exhausted or very tired, and he's lost 2 more units there, and he's under a lot of pressure from enemy troops. But you can see they've created a salient there in Scorpion King's battle formation. Here you can see a lot of green cavalry. I think Vet Plague's cavalry attacking Fesen's infantry. Fesen's holding incredibly well there, as well as Scorpion King there. So they're doing extremely well there. And as I say, my tactic here for the end game of the battle is to try and keep some of my infantry fresh. I've still got a little bit of cavalry left there, but you'll notice that the majority of my cavalry are the Imperial, well, they're all, that's all it is. I think is a Germania, a German Imperial bodyguard. I think there's a couple of Sarmatian units there, but you can see that my cavalry has been extremely battle depleted there. I'm going to charge them into the back of these engaged enemy troops. Let bang, as they smash in there. If you notice, I push my infantry forward at the same time there, try to hammer an anvil attack there, but of course infantry are so well upgraded with 70k each. As I say, cavalry is less effective in this type of battle there, but I can see some more of Scorpion King's infantry starting to crack. Oh my gosh, there's infantry in behind Scorpion King. They've got infantry units in behind it, or is that Fesen, sorry, in behind Fesen there. And Fesen's over here as well, trying to hold against the attack coming in on him there as well. Oh my gosh, poor old Fesen's holding well there. And Scorpion King here, look, still holding well. And as I say, I'm trying to keep some of my units, because in Barbarian Invasion, as I say, morale is so important. If you've got fresh units against very tired or exhausted units at the end of a battle, then that can really tell on Barbarian Invasion. That's why I'm trying to keep a couple of my units fresh if I can. But here you can see I'm attacking Spitfyre's green units there, with help from my allies' cavalry charging in there as well, what's left of them. But oh my gosh, Fesen's done extremely well there. Look, he's routed the enemy troops he was fighting there. He can now bring them over to help the rest of his units there. I can't tell you how well Fesen and Scorpion King have held here against massive odds. Okay, I've put a unit over there to support Scorpion King there. I'm going to need to move at least another 2 units over there, I think, because the enemy are starting to push through Scorpion King's units. You see, I'm moving my cavalry back, probably with a view to lock and load them and charge them back in there. But you can see my infantry fighting the green infantry there. So, as I say, Fesen, if you look, Fesen is surrounded. Okay, he's got enemy troops coming in from all directions there on Fesen's infantry, but he's still holding really well. As long as he can keep his general alive for that extra morale bonus. But remember that all the combat intensives are eagle units, so they're all giving each other morale there as well. Okay, and as I say, Scorpion King is holding well here, but you can see he's vastly outnumbered. As I say, I've already put one of my infantry units over to help. My forward units are holding well there against Spitfyre's attack, and I've got other units here fending off an attack on my left flank. Okay, I've got allies charging their cavalry in as well, what's left of their cavalry there, trying to help on this left flank there. Okay, you can see my infantry really pushing in on enemy infantry. But over here, as I say, Fesen, looking at that, surrounded by all those enemy troops and still holding. Oh my gosh, look at that. And make no mistake, he's getting hit by cavalry attacks as well. You can see Vet Plague looking to bring more infantry, more pressure onto Fesen's infantry there. You can see I'm moving my general over now to help Scorpion King, so that my general can radiate a extra morale to his troops. I'm bringing another eagle unit over as well to back up and brace Scorpion King's battle line there. So you can see that's what I'm doing. But I can see some of Fesen's troops that are exhausted. Look, if you read the writing, exhausted. All his troops are exhausted. They've been fighting for ages, and they are now completely surrounded by enemy troops. And oh my gosh, I can see a lot of Fesen's troops are finally, after a fierce fight, are starting to crack. They're starting to crack now. If he can just keep his general alive, given that extra general morale bonus there, he will be doing really well. He can still hold maybe there. Can you see how the enemy are just pressing in on him? Really just trying to finish him off, and he's still holding. It must be very frustrating for the enemy to see that Fesen's army is still holding there. There's a cavalry hit going in. See that cavalry going in there? Could that be the final nail in Fesen's coffin? And bang, is that smashing in there? No, his troops still holding. He went for the general. That, make no mistake, the cavalry there. Can you see the trajectory of the cavalry? Went for Fesen's general. Tried to take Fesen's general out there, but he's still holding. Still holding. His troops are exhausted, look, and they're still holding there. Amazing. Well done to Fesen there, really holding up a lot of enemy troops there. And as I say, over here on my left flank here, on our left flank, we've managed to rout Spitfyre's infantry there. Can you see that? We've managed to rout all those infantry there, so that's good news. Now what I need to do now is to get my infantry, okay, to come round the flank here, get all my infantry, my victorious infantry, come around the flank and go into the flank of the enemy troops. Try and kill the green general. Try and kill Spitfyre's general there if I can. Maybe pushing forward at the same time with my other infantry units. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be looking to do there. Meanwhile, my infantry units here have braced Scorpion King's units, and we're holding the line there between us. Okay, But I feel sorry for Fesen here. As I say, you've all watched this battle. You can see how well he's held. And look how he's completely surrounded there by enemy troops, all pushing in on him. Look how they're trying to drive in to his infantry, trying to kill his general. Make no mistake, the general will be the main target there. If Fesen's general falls, his army will rout, I would think, as they're all exhausted. Okay, over here, we've got a couple of my allies' general units there. I think Johng is one there. Yeah, Johng is one, and I think Scorpion King is the other general there. Yeah, so I've got Zhong's and Scorpion King's general here helping morale. We're trying to take out, as I say, Spitfyer's general there. Okay, so as I come around the flank, I'm going to go for that general, and at the same time I'm going to attack with my other units that have been holding for a long time. And over here, as I say, my units have braced Scorpion King's units there in holding the line. So as I say, this could be an extremely close battle. This could well go down to the wire here. Right, you can see me moving my infantry in there on the flank there of the enemy troops. You can you see how I'm pushing forward with my other infantry units there, like a kind of a semi-small surge attack there, old school surge attack. Right, now here's something you don't see on the modern battlefield. This is very old school. Did you notice that I moved an infantry unit back away from the fighting there? Okay, because the reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to make the most of the infantry charge bonus. Remember, we talk a lot about cavalry charge bonus, but we don't talk a lot about infantry bonus. That's I know it's only a 3 charge bonus. I think it's a 3 charge bonus for the combatant tenses, but I've moved the infantry back, and now I'm going to charge in to get that charge bonus. You see? You don't see that on modern day battlefields now, but back in the day, old school, pull your infantry back. You'll see me do it again. See my infantry coming back. Alright, pulling it back from the fray. Okay, as I say, I just want to show you this because it's so old school. You just don't see it anymore. Pull my infantry back and then charge them back in to get the charge bonus for the infantry. As I say, very, very old school. This is how you're like, pull my infantry back, charge them in again. Right, to get that charge bonus. As I say, it might only be a 3 or 4 charge bonus, but look at the penetration that charge bonus has caused there. So, as I say, I wanted to show that in this battle. We're trying to take out Spitfyer's general there. Make no mistake about that. I am really putting a lot of troops into trying to take out his general. Right, let's pause the game for a second here. So, unbelievable, but Fesen is still holding. Johng sent his general over there to try and give a little bit more morale, but Fesen's troops, even though they're exhausted, look, still holding up a lot of enemy troops. So well done to Fesen. My infantry there, as I say, with some of Scorpion King's infantry holding well there, and we're just trying to take out Spitfyer's general. If we can drop Spitfyer's general there, then the morale that he is radiating will be lost, and I'm hoping that might cause a rout there. Oh my gosh, I think that's Zhong's generals. Oh my gosh. Okay, so after a really fierce fight here, Fesen's infantry has finally cracked and have been broken there by superior enemy numbers coming in from all directions. But really well done to Fesen. That would be a famous last stand there. I think that those of you that watching it, famous last stand, I would say there for Fesen there. Held enemy troops up for so long there, and now all those enemy troops are now free to attack my troops there and what's left of Scorpion King's infantry. But here, as I say, I'm really pressing in on Spitfyer's general there, really pressing in. Look, can you see? Really pressing in, trying to kill that general there. Where is his general? I know his general's there somewhere. Ah, there he is. I can see him. If you look carefully, can you see where the mouse arrow is pointing there? You'll see the green general. There he is, look. That's Spitfyer's general. That's the guy I'm trying to kill to stop the morale bonus that he's given to Spitfyer's troops there. Okay, so there you are. You can see him there, the green general of Spitfyr. Can you see my red infantry are surrounding him, attacking him, trying to stab him, trying to slash at him with their swords. And you see he's still stood there, still in amongst all my troops there. Surely he's going to get hit in a minute there. Ooh, he just got hit there, didn't he? Just got hit again, and down he goes. Right, we've taken out Spitfyer's general there, so that's good news for us. And you can see several of his units have routed when that general went down there. Okay, but here you can see those victorious enemy troops are attacking my troops, and they've even got tired and exhausted troops in behind me. Now, because Fesen were holding them up so long, look, these troops are exhausted. They might be victorious from taking out Fesen's infantry, but they're exhausted. Scorpion King's units are exhausted, look, because he's been fighting for a long time. But look at my units. That's another one, Scorpion Kings. But look at my units, fresh. Okay, so they're optimum. They're at their optimum battle proficiency here. Fresh. These troops here are fresh, look. Up against tired, very tired and exhausted enemy troops. So remember what we talked about on morale on barbarian invasion is very important. These guys are at their lowest ebb, look. They're exhausted. So their morale has dropped off the edge of a cliff. Their battle proficiency, the way they actually fight the battle, has dropped off the edge of a cliff. And as I say, their morale now is so low, it's unbelievable. And its Scorpion King's infantry are also exhausted, look, but my guys are fresh. And that's what I talked to you. Remember I talked to you earlier on in the battle. I want to try and keep a few of my units fresh here for the end game. And now you can see that my units are fresh. These guys, these units of mine that have been fighting, they'll be tired because they've been fighting for a long time. But I've still got fresh units there, as we saw. See, my troops here are very tired there as I'm charging them in to the enemy green troops. Once again, look, can you see, pulling my troops back, pulling my infantry back there, and then charging them back in to get the charge bonus, the infantry charge bonus. You don't hear people talking about that, do you, these days? But it's an old school, old fashioned thing. So I'm getting 3 charge bonus there, 3 or 4 charge bonus. And look at the charge bonus charging, probably going to rout a lot there. Look, see both those infantry units, and now I'm going to take them up to attack those other units there. I'm pushing my fresh units forward as well into those exhausted troops there as well. So my fresh units now, I'm attacking those exhausted enemy units there. And watch for the green units starting to rout. Okay, there you can see there's a green general there, green cavalry general. He could get taken out if we're lucky. There, we'll take him out. There, he's gone. So that's one general, enemy general, taken out there, which is good news for us. But I can see there's 2 green enemy generals still left alive there. And you can see my fresh troops, as I say, I'm throwing them in to the exhausted troops of the enemy there as well. Right there, I can see the 2 green generals there. I think one belongs to Mantu. Yeah, I'm guessing the other one's Vet Plague. Let's just see, I think that one's Vet Plague there. And that's that, there, that's Mantu's general there. Okay, and you can see my troops closing in on Mantu's general there. So I don't know how long he's going to last. As I say, the other general, yeah, was Vet Plague there, which I'll be looking to take out as well, because they're both giving morale to their troops. But can you see the exhausted green troops now are facing my fresh troops? And because I kept those units fresh through the battle now, as I say, they're at their optimum fighting ability now, and they're going up against units that are at their absolute lowest ebb when exhausted. There you are, you can see that's the cavalry general gone, and there's the infantry general there, which I'm concentrating on, trying to take that that general out of Vet Plagues. He's the last there, and he's gone as well. And it looks like our team has managed to go on and win the battle there. So very pleased about that, because I would say, you know, it was it could have gone either way. There you are, Scorpion King got 1 unit there, I think, with 4 men in. Another, hang on, I think it was 4 men. Let me just have another look. Goes to show you how a battle of attrition is with, yeah, 4 men in Scorpion King's unit there. Oh my god, 7 men in Scorpion King's units there. 5 men in that unit. So you can see how much of a battle of attrition this was. And then over in that unit, oh my gosh, you got 52 men in that unit, which is a heck of a lot. But remember, these units are 122 men units. So you can see there how much of a battle of attrition it really was. The Scorpion King's got 4 battle damage units left, and I think all of Johng and Fesen's army has been taken out. So over here, of course, this is where Johng was fighting initially Royer on his own, and then everybody kind of joined in on this flank. And the enemy did actually take our right flank here, didn't they? We saw that earlier in the battle. They broke our right flank and then attempted to roll the right centre up where Fesen was holding so well there. I mean, that was a famous last stand, I would think, that of Fesen's there. And if we move across the battlefield here, you can see how intense the fighting was. This is where I think Vet Plague and Scorpion King were initially fighting there, I think, in that particular part. That's all the cavalry I got left, by the way. And notice it's the Imperial German bodyguard that are left. Just 2 of them now. 2 men left. That's all I've got out of all my cavalry. Over here, this is where I was fighting Spitfyer's army there. And you can see it's quite, well, in some ways it's quite a condensed battlefield, but also it's kind of spread out in some places as well, isn't it? But there where you can see us just finish off the last of the enemy troops. Okay, so the first thing I'd like to say is really well played to everybody in the game. Now, in Rome Total War, a close victory is very rare these days. And in Barbarian Invasion, it is very, very, very rare to get a close victory. So that's why I felt I had to show this battle, because it's just so rare to get a close battle on Barbarian Invasion. Right, highest kills in the game, get ready for this, goes to Vet Plague on the losing team. 2,352 kills he got, and bearing in mind he's only just come back from a 10-year break away. I think it's about 10 years from playing there. So really well done to Vet Plague, and how rare is it to have the highest kills by far on the losing team. So well done to Royer, he did well attacking that right flank, very aggressive there. Well done to Mantu, got some good kills there, attacking the right centre. Well done to Spitfyr attacking our left flank, and well done to Vet Plague attacking the centre there. So really well played, guys. Great battle there. I'm pleased with my kills there. What, 13 off of 2,000 kills, so yeah, quite pleased with that. Well done to Fesen there, holding so well, got over 2,000 kills, just like you to notice that, over 2,000 kills. So well done to Fesen. There he did so well. Well done to Scorpion King, very aggressive at in the centre of the battlefield there. And well done to Johng, holding our right flank for as long as he did. Just want to show you, remember Scorpion King had 1,922 man units there. That's why he's got such a massive army in compared to the rest of us. You know, you can see he's got a massive army there. So, as I say, a close victory on Barbarian Invasion, so rare. That's why I felt I had to show this battle. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this Barbarian Invasion battle. We play every Sunday night. GOTW Romex absolutely loves it. And if the rest of you'd like to give it a go, it would be nice to see you on a Sunday.